Is the diagnosis certain? Yes, we've reached a consensus on the results. Unfortunately, like many cases of pervasive developmental disorders, this is a rather late diagnosis. Had you known when you were a child, miss, it could have saved you a lot of trouble. Do you have any books on it? This one is by Tony Atwood. He's one of the specialists on the subject. You can borrow it free of charge for now, just don't elope with it. Thanks, Doc. Now, are you two a couple? Unmarried and without any other current legal affiliation. Yes, I see. Well, I could give you a referral to a specialized counselor if you wish. Is there anything unsettling in the relationship? No. And you, sir? No, it's fine. Nonetheless, sir, you should also give the book a read. It'd help you understand her condition. I'd rather not. Why is that? Well, it's your call. In the meantime, there is a thing called equine therapy that might help her. A ranch just north of here offers it. I can contact them for you. Told you so. Okay, at this point, that's the best confirmation we're going to get. River is canonically autistic. And, well, that's why I relate to her so much. I am also autistic. I was diagnosed at 8. She was diagnosed in early adulthood. Definitely very different situations, but River is very, very well written for an autistic character, which is rare in media. Normally they're written like Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, who is notorious for being just about the worst autistic representation you have in media. Like, he is nowhere near accurate. It's honestly offensive how bad he is. But River is really, really well done. She's very accurate. I imagine she probably speaks with a flat effect, which I don't have and I can't replicate sufficiently well, so I haven't been doing that for her. I wish I could replicate it well enough because she very much speaks in a manner that suggests she has a flat effect, and I would like to voice her accurately, but I'm not a voice actor and I can't replicate that in a satisfactory manner. You've probably noticed she has fixations, things she gets really interested in. The origami rabbits is a big thing. Repetitive tasks can be a very soothing and relaxing thing for autistic people. And it's possible something happened at that point in her life which was extremely stressful, and she adopted origami rabbits as just a simple repetitive task which she could focus on and could help calm her down. Effectively, it's a form of stimming, which is just, repetitive motions or deliberate sensory input to help regulate emotions, thoughts, and sensory input. River is very, very good. The other friend, Isabel, is also autistic. She was diagnosed rather early, so her parents seemingly put her through quote-unquote therapy to help her appear neurotypical and normal. But as she discussed several scenes back, that effectively came across to her as she had to act her entire life to pretend to be quote-unquote normal, and it was traumatizing for her. She doesn't feel like she even knows herself, and she's devastated, and she's incredibly envious of River because River wasn't diagnosed until adulthood. She was never forced to pretend. And that's a situation I ended up in when I was younger. My parents didn't send me to any of those god-awful therapies. The big one is ABA, which is effectively child abuse. It's based on psychological principles of rewarding desired behavior and punishing undesired behavior. But one, the punishments are shitty and bad and abusive. And two, the desired behavior is acting neurotypical and the undesired behavior is acting autistic. So it's bad. It's really bad. It punishes autistic people for being themselves, and it should never be done to a child. Thankfully, I was not subject to that, but the way my parents handled me being autistic was still not great. They tried. They just didn't try much. It's like I got diagnosed and they did initial reading on it, but then they came to the decision, which was, I can see where they're coming from, but they came to the decision that I'm the autistic person. I know my experience better than them. Therefore, I should be the leader in determining what we do with it and like how we handle me being autistic and me being me. I was 8 years old. That's way too much responsibility to put on me. I understand that they didn't want to take away my agency, but I was way too young to understand, and I was on the internet a lot. My parents basically left me to raise myself on the internet because they're like, oh, you're smart, you know how to use this fancy technology thing. You can basically raise yourself. We don't need to worry about you because we trust you. And no, I was too young, and the internet was very hostile back then. So much cyberbullying occurred. It really screwed me up. I ended up trying to force myself to be normal in order to fit in, and this game helped me to realize that was not okay, that I needed to be authentically myself and rediscover who I am. Especially Isabel's speech helped with that. So I have spent the better part of the last decade trying to rediscover myself, and it's been a long process, but I've made a lot of progress. Sorry, I know I'm just standing here and rambling about personal stuff, but this is a very personal game, so I hope that's understandable. I can also confirm, thanks to meeting a friend who actually has horses and is also autistic and is one of my best friends, I got to ride on some of her horses, and they are wonderful, and horses are the best, and equine therapy is actually really fucking good, and God, I wish I had that opportunity when I was younger, though it would have been expensive. And my parents, yeah, they weren't too interested in learning about my autism themselves. They just left me to it, to take the lead at 8 years old. I had no fucking idea what I was doing. I didn't know what any of this meant. I was 8. My parents meant well. But even meaning well, they fucked me up. And it sucks. But it happens. And just hopefully people can be more aware as we go further into the future. People can learn more and do better. It's okay not to be perfect, but that doesn't mean you can't try to at least do a little better every day. Alright. Enough of that rambling about personal stuff. I am very sorry about that, but yeah. I can't believe this piece of atrocity is dated all the way back here. Looks like someone took good care of it. She's still got pretty bad taste in animals, though. Hey, leave the platypus alone. The platypus... Well, now that we're actually talking about River being autistic, I can talk a little bit more about her characterization. The platypus is very much a comfort item for her. A lot of autistic people have some particular item which they have a fond attachment to. I do need to state that no two autistic people are the same. Some autistic people will have some traits, some autistic people will have other traits. No statement that anyone makes about an autistic person is true for every autistic person. Everyone is their own. It's like making some general statement about neurotypicals. All neurotypicals do X, Y, or Z. Well, no, maybe many neurotypical people do X, Y, or Z, but not every single one of them. It's a general framework for how the brain works. It's not a prescriptive, your brain is this. But many autistic people do have comfort items, especially plushies are a very nice one because texture, something to hug. They're nice. Just something that can bring comfort and be relaxing to have. Excuse me, could you please silence the clock? The ticking really bothers her. It's not that severe, I'll be okay. No problem, it's standard policy. If there's anything at all that makes you uncomfortable, just let me know. Thank you. I guess that explains the ones in the house. Yeah, it was noted quite a while ago that the clocks in their house were all silenced. They weren't making ticking noises. That's another thing for autistic people. Sensory input. Our senses can be more highly tuned for some senses and more dull for others. The more noticeable ones are when our senses are more highly tuned. Sound's a big one. Repetitive sounds can very much get on many people's nerves. So the repetitive ticking of a clock can occupy a lot of brain space. Our brains aren't necessarily as good at filtering out repetitive sensory input. So a ticking clock going tick, tick, tick every second. For a lot of neurotypicals, your brain's going to filter that out just fine, and it's not going to really notice it after a bit. For autistic people, instead of our brains filtering it out, many of our brains will actually instead focus on it, and it can get irritating, and it can get overwhelming, and it can just get tiring. We found the memento. Thankfully, they were more than willing to silence the ticking clock, which... just a bit longer. They'll be calling for you soon. Yeah. Managing our sensory environment is definitely a big part of making sure an autistic person has has a reasonably comfortable life. Okay, this looks to be another one with diagonals. There we go. Look! I know, I can't believe he once paid to see this crap in theater. No, you idiot, look, we leaped! Holy overcooked macaroni, the kid's in the theater all by himself, what a loser! You go to the theater by yourself all the time. That's different, no one's competent enough to match my taste. But that aside, how could anyone last through this rubbish? And thus, this movie sucks on both physical and metaphysical levels. QED. Come on, let's go. What? Oh, right. Alright, well, Johnny stormed out of the theater in the middle of a movie. You okay, dude? Whoa, wait, I ain't talking to no emo teenager. Grammar, my dear Watson. Shut up, that's not even a full sentence. Let's just go look for mementos. Well, kid's having a bad day. Let's go see if we can find anything over here in the food court. What are you doing? That's the third person you've removed here. Not like it's permanent. I mean, I would very much like to be able to move around, and they are kind of in the way. You know that poking them out of the way like that does nothing, right? Then why complain? Yeah, they're just kind of in the way. It's harder to move around when they're all standing all over the place. Definitely not going out of my way to remove the people who are doing nothing and just sitting out of the way. No, it's definitely because they're just all impeding my movement. Here, I want to get up to the front of the food court line. Give me some food. I want to skip the line. Oh look, this place is all empty and creepy now. I hope you're happy. I am. I'm very happy. And now it's a horror game. If you poke enough people out of the way, the lights start flickering, the music goes away. Which is great. Getting stood up? Now that's a Kodak moment. You relate well with your kin, I see. Well, there's nothing here. Not even people. Hate to say it, but I guess I have to nag something out of him again. All yours. At least there are no olives this time. River? You were in there this whole time? I waited for you at the lobby. I thought you didn't come. Why did you leave? I thought we were watching the movie together. Huh? I'm the one who should ask that. What do you mean? We were watching the movie together and then you left. We weren't watching it together. I didn't even know where you were. If you saw me in there, why didn't you come and find me? What difference does it make? We were watching the same movie in the same room. What's wrong? You're so weird. Do you not want to watch the movie together anymore? Of course I do. Come, let's head back in before it ends. I feel like I should make a clever remark. You feel wrong. Well, let's hope our ride's waiting for us in there. This is not something I would personally do, but my god do I relate to why River did it. So, the concept in play here is parallel play. Parallel play is basically the idea that many autistic people, and it's not limited to autistic people, but it's especially common in autistic people, will be perfectly happy to hang around other people. They don't have to be doing something with another person, they just want to be near them. Like, I could be sitting in a room with my partner and we'll both be playing completely different video games. Just sitting next to each other, playing different video games. And to me, that is an incredibly good time. I am hanging out with my partner. We're not doing something directly together, but we're doing things with each other. Doesn't even have to be in the same part of the room. We could be across the room and I'm going to be perfectly happy with it. River did that here. She was very happy to be watching the movie just in the same room as Johnny. She didn't personally see the point of sitting next to him, physically with him, in seats right next to each other. That's not something I would do, because I definitely value physical proximity to a partner if I'm on a date. But it's not necessarily something that she values. She just wanted to be in the room with him, even if there's physical distance between them, watching the same movie. She doesn't need anything more than that, and she didn't realize that Johnny did want to be physically sitting with her. It's a very funny misunderstanding, which is fantastic that it happened in their middle school years. That's exactly the time when that kind of mistake would happen. It's so precious. This also ties into something that happened at Johnny and River's wedding. A couple things, actually. When they were saying their I do's, River didn't say I do, she said yes. She does... A lot of autistic people don't necessarily take too much stock in normal social norms and traditions. Not necessarily that we, think we're better than them or anything, but, a lot of those social rules and traditions don't necessarily make a lot of inherent sense to us. Why does the phrasing have to be, I do? I'm answering the question by saying, yes. I'm answering the question in a clear, specific manner. So she didn't end up saying, I do, she answered the question. She answered the question proposed to her by the officiator. There was another line at the wedding where Johnny asks if she feels any different, and she says she doesn't. Again, this ties into the not really fully jiving with or understanding social norms. For her, the wedding was just a formality, a statement, a legal statement that her and Johnny were partners in the eyes of the law forever. For her, it was a formality. And for many autistic people, it would be similar, just a formality. Whereas for Johnny, being neurotypical, he put a bit more stock into it as a social tradition and a social norm. So the wedding held a bit more meaning to him, specifically. That's not to say that River didn't love him or anything. She absolutely does. Just the wedding itself was a formality to publicly and legally represent something she already knew. She loved Johnny and wanted to be with him forever. This game does a fantastic job of representing autistic people through River. River is so very well written. I will criticize that they kind of play up the mystery probably a little too much in what's wrong, quote unquote, with River. I don't like that too much. But I do like that they don't just come right out and say it. River is River. She has her own quirks. But so does Johnny. So does Isabel. So does Nick. So does everyone in this game. Everyone is their own person with their own quirks. Rivers are a bit more unique in this case because she's one of two autistic people in this game. And she is the autistic character who is the central focus of the core relationship. I don't like too much that they left her condition as a mystery, but I also don't like that they just said she's autistic, so that's why she is the way she is. No. They let it be she is herself, and she has these quirks, but those quirks are just part of being River. And I love that a lot. So basically, my dissatisfaction with any part of this game is basically a nitpick, is what I'm saying. And look who's the memento. Okay, this looks like another diagonal, probably. Yeah, perfect. Flip that. And then flip these three. And let's keep heading back. You know, I think this platypus is growing on me. Mostly just for convenience, but hey,